Welcome back, everybody, back to the show, back to the video, whatever you want to call this. A random person pushed both of the guys to the sides and ran off with my purse. Interestingly enough, it was actually empty. My phone I put into my pocket that I had sewn on myself. The guy didn't notice that. He just ran off with my purse. But I didn't really care. My mom came right at that moment to pick me up. I actually just drove my car. You know what I mean. Mother's intuition, I guess. I didn't think the guy cared. He walked away. I didn't like him because I didn't trust him anymore. I didn't want anyone from the male association around me. My mom got out of the car and gave me a hug, and we both rode home in our cars. We ordered Chinese food because I loved that, played cards, and talked about what happened. Then I decided to go to that therapy program that Pepper suggested, and a couple of weeks after working there, I found out that the person who helped me that night works upstairs, like on the roof, and I decided to go see him to say thank you. I walked all the way up the stairs, because on Sparrow Island, there's no such thing as an elevator. In fact, most people on this island don't know what that is. I reach the doorway and see him playing with some kids in the water. He tells them not to splash him or anybody else. I say out loud, "There are kids up here!" A 40-something-year-old lady walks past me with a bunch of saplings and says to me,
"Yep, and we also have a garden, too."
I was so embarrassed that I started to walk back down the stairs, but he noticed that I was standing there and walked over to see what I was doing. He says, "How can I help you?" I take a brief moment to cringe at the fact that I have to turn around now. So I turn around and say, "Actually, I work here." He says, "Oh yeah, that would explain the uniform and nameplate. Oh, your name is Emily." I say yes, and your name is Chad. Chad then says, "So what are you doing here other than working here?" Of course, I reply, "Just wanted to say thank you for the other night." And Chad said it was no problem. "I was there, so I helped you." I said, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry for ignoring you. I'm just working out some things." "It's okay, I understand. I hope to see you around, Emily. I mean, other than dark alleyways." They both laughed, and I remembered every other dating experience, and I ran down the stairs. Chad just thought I was late for work, and I went randomly to the bathroom on the 10th floor and began to have a panic attack. My OCD went crazy, and my brain kept switching back and forth. It was super nice, but he could be one of Aiden's volunteers. Why else would he be there? My mind raced, and I started to cry, but then I heard a familiar voice, but I couldn't quite figure out who it was. The girl began to talk about her life, which seemed to line up perfectly with what I'm going through right now. She said frustratingly, "I hate boys. They are the worst. They're stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. They never think about anything. They're always talking about football." The person then breathed out in layers. I recognized that was after panic release breaths. My therapist told me about it. I decided to go out and try to help this girl, but before I could, my mind filled with intrusive thoughts. I was completely disturbed. One thing about my OCD is that I always had these intrusive thoughts about people dying, and before I found out what it was, I started therapy. I thought it was me wanting it, and I was triggered when thoughts popped up about Chad. I remembered what my therapist told me. There was a little paper that I kept in my pocket, taped to the back of my phone. It was a list of things that were true facts about me. I opened it and read these facts about me. It took me a moment to ground myself in reality. I repeated to myself the truth. I don't want to hurt people, but I'm working on not listening to OCD, and I have never listened to this type of thinking. I walked out of the restroom and I got back to work. A couple of weeks after, I looked for books that would help me achieve my goals. I wrote down my goals, and if they're still 100%, or if I'm just trying to chase an old dream, why did I have those goals? After hearing about Chad and how nice he was, reading a bunch of relationship books, and working through my past in therapy, I decided to give Chad a chance. I walked upstairs. I again apologized for walking away and ignoring him weeks earlier. I helped him out on the roof, and we got to talking, and he asked me, "Have you ever been downtown?" I have not actually. Chad said, "Oh well, that's like the most artist-filled place there is." I said, "Maybe you could show me around." I don't want to immediately have a date though, so I made that clear to him. As one of the dating books said, communication is one of the core parts of a relationship. I get off at 5. Maybe we could go to a coffee shop near there after work just to get to know each other. Unless, of course, you have plans. Chad replied that would be fine. I get off at 6, so maybe 7 a.m. And I love coffee. Okay, I'll let you get back to work. I work down in the basement, so bye. I turned around and walked away. In the background, Chad raises his fist and dropped it down, whispering, "Yes!" "Oh, Emily, it's a casual dining experience, so don't dress up too fancy." Emily walks back over and says, "Thank you. No one has really let me in on their plans until we get where we're going." There was a lot of wearing sweatpants to fancy restaurants and dresses to clean up the neighborhood. Chad says, "Oh, that's why you were wearing that outfit. Doesn't that mean you're on a date?" He says this while scratching the back of his neck with his hand, blushing embarrassedly. I say, "Yeah, but we broke up." Chad said, "Oh." I said, "Why do you ask?" He responds, saying, "Just wondering," while his face is bright red. We hanged out in the coffee shop, just getting to know each other. We went to the mall, libraries, and gardens. I now trust Chad enough to bring him to the orphanage. When they arrive at the building, Chad says, "Hey, I remember this place. I worked here one summer when my school was doing a Help Others project." It was in my emo phase that I had remembered this guy that had black hair that covered his face, and he always wore black outfits. And Chad said, "That was me. You probably don't recognize me because my face was covered up." We came in and spent the whole day there. We then made it a point to go to the orphanage every day. I, now 19, and Chad, 18, decided to go on an official date, but my OCD came back and I had a panic attack about him cheating. So I asked my friend Sunny, since she knew the most about him, and Sunny said he used to be a bully, but he had changed a lot in the past few years. I said okay and walked away. Chad never told me about this. I said to myself, wait, he didn't push me away. Does that mean he doesn't like me? I started to panic, but I pushed it down because I don't want OCD to come back. I talked to myself in that moment. It was like if I had gone into a horror film, and I didn't want to go back. The next day, I got up and went to the orphanage, but my OCD was in full swing. I ignored it, not in the way that I didn't ignore the compulsion, but where I obeyed the compulsion, but I didn't acknowledge it. I quickly ran through my routine, trying to outrun the OCD. I thought if I just went to my happy place, the orphanage, then I'd be okay. I had a panic attack the whole way, and my mind raced. But I got to the orphanage. My volunteer worker was usually working. I'm doing school-type projects for the kids. I had planned a couple of weeks in advance to do a crafting project that Saturday to make little no-sew dolls. So I set up the table, and a couple of girls came over to the table and started making little dolls out of the supplies. Chad, who mostly did janitorial things, but wasn't there that day, and I definitely wished he was. As I paced back and forth, one little girl noticed that I was worried and I didn't want anyone to know what was going on. And then my OCD got worse, and I thought to myself, she knows. It felt like there was something that fell out of my hand, but I could never pick it up again. While they were doing it, I began to freak out about them using adult scissors. But one of the girls asked me to tie her ribbon. I said surely I could do that and not break down. I walked over and tied her ribbon. Then more girls started asking for my help. And one gave me the scissors, and now the danger was in my hands. As I held the scissors in my hand, I started to panic. What if I drop them? What if I accidentally throw them? I started to physically panic, and the girls began to freak out too. I put down the scissors and closed my eyes, hoping that all of this was just some dream. The girls called out for Taylor. I saw Taylor walk in as I collapsed on the floor, feeling like I was going to pass out. I had embarrassed myself. They called the police, and I was admitted to a mental hospital. She was released 3 months later, but I had to stay away from the orphanage for a while. During that time, she and Chad got married, and they were expecting a baby. They told everybody at the museum about this exciting news. They found out it was twins, and they decided to name them Clyde and Chris, but they miscarried. Back to Chad and Emily in the present time. Chad and Emily got out of the car, went into the store, picked up party supplies, and talked about being parents. It was bittersweet because they both wanted their twins to be able to be here, but they were happy about the new babies. She was going to use them to share the news with everybody tomorrow after the party, but when she picked them up, she didn't read what they said until she saw the one behind them. It said, "I'm a twin." The one she picked up also said, "I'm a twin." She looked at Chad and said, "They were supposed to be here if only we had gone to the doctor earlier." Chad said, but was interrupted by an alarm. "You got distracted, didn't you? You're late." They ran to the car. Emily ran right past everyone, coming into the back of the museum, saying sorry as she ran past. She came back out and pulled Chris and then Taylor in for assistance. That concludes Emily's story.